coming home to our bodies.
It's a nice expression.
Yeah.
Coming home to our bodies. So it's my pleasure to introduce Suzanne Yates, who's been a major influencer in helping people transform stuck habits through Shiatsu and movement-based therapies, myself included, since the 1980s. So, Suzanne, how can your work help us?
Well, how many of you feel stuck in your life? Maybe you feel the same stuck emotions coming up, emotions that you feel you can't shift. Or perhaps you have neck or shoulder issues and they just don't seem to change very much. Maybe also you're missing touch and physical contact with other people. So over the years of doing Shiatsu, I found the combination of touch and Shiatsu uses like a quite a nice enveloping physical pressure touch, and also some tailored movements, quite similar to yoga and qigong style, and including breath awareness, actually seems to really shift these emotions and also physical things. People find things start to change and they may be able to express their feelings in different ways with other people. Their physical patterns start to shift, or maybe they have a different relationship to their physical patterns. And yeah, so much seems to change that I'm still always amazed when I work with someone at the power and also the simplicity of touch.
Yeah, it sounds quite familiar to me in, my patterns of habits, and it seems quite intrinsically linked, the physical and the emotional stuckness, myself included. So what you're saying sounds amazing. So why don't more people know about it?
That's a really good question, and I'm always pondering it. I think part of it is it feels a bit too simple in a way, that just with touch and movement, you can shift all these things. It's quite devalued in our culture, I think. And often people value a bit more being able to talk about it, intellectualize it, have a name for it, have a medical diagnosis, when there isn't always that possibility. I'm not necessarily saying it's easy. Sometimes things shift dramatically after one session, and then I am really amazed by the power of the body, because actually for me it's I'm facilitating a change in someone. I'm giving them a space in which there's that possibility, and it's up to them to step into that space. And often after just one or two sessions, things quite dramatically change, either on an emotional or a physical level. But of course, to really chip away and repattern those things over long term, that does take time. So we also do need to take the time. I'm not necessarily saying it's like a magic wand that I can wave. And people do need to put in the work and feel motivated and continue. But it's also very relaxing, and people do tend to feel quite nourished by it. So that's also quite a good motivation in itself to continue.
Great. I'd like to ask if we can have an experience that viewers can do along with us now.
Okay. Yeah. So often people do, a typical area is holding in the neck, in the jaw, and in the shoulders. And so actually, the first thing I often get people to do is just come into a sense of awareness of what's going on. Take a moment to pause and be still. Take a moment especially to be aware of your breath. That is quite fundamental. Because often just breathing out, taking a bit more time with the out breath, and then allowing a nice full in breath to come into the body, already that can begin to shift things. And then maybe just feeling a movement. I'm just mirroring one movement or offering a suggestion of just opening up the shoulders, if the shoulders are tight, and feeling what movement. It's really a two-way process. I'm working with each person to see actually which movement is best for them. Maybe it's this kind of movement, maybe it's more this kind of movement. So just feel within your body what might help shift neck or shoulder tension. Maybe if the tension's more in your jaw, you might want to actually, I might put a funny face for a moment, but really open the jaw, release the jaw. So this is the power of movement and breath. But also the power of touch is perhaps feel the area that's tight. If it's the jaw, just place your fingers and give a little bit of gentle pressure. Or firm pressure, if firm pressure feels better or more effective. If it's the base of your skull, maybe just cup along the back of your head and hold, and perhaps even lean your head gently back into your hands. Or you may even feel a specific point that you want to go in to with your thumb. And again, sometimes we do use a little bit of more massagey type movement. If that feels better, then do that. Otherwise, you can just hold. For me, that feels quite, I'm staying here because it feels quite good for me. You see, I'm still amazed at what can shift when we just take the time to connect and to receive. And if you're tight on your shoulder, especially the top part, you might want to put your fingers in there. And that's a bit harder to give strong pressure yourself. That's usually better if someone else does. But still, you can maybe guide with your other hand. Give a bit of downward pressure. And I feel as I do that, I actually instinctively want to breathe out and release and feel the tightness from the shoulder just dropping down through my body to the earth. And I can do that on the other side as well.
Great. So useful using this arm to help the other shoulder. So the other shoulder's not doing anything, just feeling the support and the weight.
Yeah. But again, it's different for each person. Sometimes I do both together. Actually, now I've done the two. Both together also feels quite nice. And that's almost like giving yourself a big hug, isn't it? And so it is quite nice. And with my clients, I often show them things that they can get a friend or a partner, someone else to do, because actually we talked about communicating more clearly. Touch is the first form of communication. So communication isn't necessarily only through words, and shifting emotions doesn't necessarily only come about through the words, but through shifts within the body. Coming home to our bodies.
It's a nice expression.
Yeah.
Coming home to our bodies.
Our bodies remember everything that we've ever experienced. Emotions, physical memory, memory of being with others. So it is really ultimately through the body that we can transform. Not so much just the mind and words on their own. Although, of course, it does help to express sometimes verbally what has been released, and talking is part of the session, as you know. We encourage our clients to verbalize as they need to.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne. So, where do we find out more about what you have to offer?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. My company is called Well Mother, but it's not just about for mothers. It's the acknowledging the fact really that we all have a mother and we're all affected by our first relationship, which was with our mother and also Mother Earth. So videos on kind of more lengthy on what I've just been showing you. I've also got a website, wellmother.org, and that I have blogs writing about different things, exercises, Shiatsu. I've written a few books, and there are courses. And of course, I see clients too. Online these days, as well as in person. And again, I'm amazed by how effective online work has been. Not for everybody, because obviously for some people it's really the physical touch that's very important. But hopefully, as you've experienced now, even touching yourself and even having someone else being with you in the space while you do that can be very powerful. I've been quite amazed.
Definitely. I mean, I've experienced courses with you and also online and in groups, and online means that you can sort of take responsibility and give yourself permission to touch and nurture yourself, and then it becomes a lot more profound because the tools are in your own hands.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, people have to take more responsibility. Although sometimes I do also get people to lie down, and I tell them, I connect with them, and they can actually feel things. It's quite interesting.
Sounds it. Well, thank you, Suzanne, and I'll put all the information about your website, your YouTube, and your courses down below. And yeah, look forward to speaking with you again and sharing with everyone else what else you have to offer.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.